let's talk about Teams once again. A new session about Enterprise Connect 2024, and some of the announcements that came out is all around speaker recognition. But it might be even better to talk about what is speaker recognition and what is voice isolation.
Voice isolation is it's the same building blocks that all of them are done. Is that you create your voice profile in your Office 365 profile, and then it knows who you are, and then it actually remove all noise and people around you. So it knows that when I'm speaking, then it knows my voice DNA, and it only filter that one out. So let's say that Lars and Michael and I was in the same room, and all of three were talking at the same time. Not going to happen, never done before. But it will actually remove Lars and Michael, and it will only take my voice and go through, because I am the person that talking. I am on my device. It's me that we are focusing on. Super awesome feature if you're out in a Starbucks or in a conference and so on. So very noisy background, open offices and so on. Really something that we are looking for, that Microsoft are pushing out as GA to all tenants. So that's the voice isolation.
But I also assume, Carsten, that it's the same when you have made the speak into Teams, right? It's the same thing they're using for the speaker recognition, right? It's the same line.
You create,
you create one voice profile. Yeah. And speaker recognition
and one very important thing is, one very important thing is when you create that one, and you bought this brand new super duper headset that can filter everything and really make rainbows out of everything. Disable all that technology, because Microsoft are trying to learn your voice DNA, and that those headsets have it to adjust it and make it even better for defined. But the problem here is that Microsoft are trying to learn your voice, and they want the raw input from the microphone. I fall in that trap when I was doing my first profiles for different tenants and so on. I really had problems with saying, hey, I'm sitting with this super duper headset, and it's just saying, hey, get a better high microphone or be in a better room or something like that. Turn off all this stuff on your device, or even if you have a decent laptop, talk directly into it. Of course, in a quiet room.
Yeah, I mean, at least while you create your profile, that makes sense.
Only when you create it. Only when you create it. Stop doing it after.
It's just because it needs the raw material, right? So
it needs to learn your voice to make sure that you get the full perspective of your voice. But then when you actually doing the Teams meetings afterwards, and then it's perfectly fine by turning on the technology that each and every OEM and vendors do. Because they have something different that they can then enhance the experience in the video and the audio. So that was the voice isolation. Then it's also the speaker recognition. That's also part of the recognizing people within the meeting room. So I think that's a valid
that
point.
One is using the same voice profile, right? So when you're entering a meeting room and you have made your voice profile, it will automatically, for the recap part or the co-pilot part, it will automatically state who has been speaking.
One little adjustment: you need to be invited to the meeting room, and right now you still need to have internal meetings. So your voice profile are not cross-tenant. It's not external. It's not like if I'm joining in, then it will know. Let's say that we're meeting at Lars's headquarters, all three of us, and we have a voice profile. It wouldn't recognize us, even though we are invited. It's only internal voice profile that it will look up for invited persons.
The recognition will be on some of the soundbars connected to Windows Teams Room, right? And then it will also be enabled for bring your own devices. And in that sense, I actually think it's a good thing to have this speaker recognition when you're making recaps, etc. But you just mentioned one thing I hadn't thought about, Carsten, and this is if you don't shut off speaker isolation or voice isolation while connecting to bring your own device, all the rest of the people in the room, they will not be heard, right? So it's they have a brand new technology that's capable of doing so much more than we have thought about for 2 years ago, and now it because it's moving so fast, today it's going to isolate everybody else in the meeting room if you're hooked up to a bring your own device. So
and I think we need to mention that the new thing that have come out Enterprise Connect is that you don't need the certified devices before there was a list of certified devices that had some speakers, a microphone on the table, and somebody on the bar, and so on. All devices now that are sending a stream into Microsoft, we have the option to speaker recognition. So just so everybody's clear, that's the new thing.
It's great because normally, like in the past, speaker recognition, that was mostly, or it was on certified devices, but the certified devices was mostly like a small speakerphone, and that was not very good in a big meeting room. So adding the technology across all devices, that really will enhance the experience, especially when we look at Copilot and the transcript of each person, instead of it's just meeting room A that spoke. Now it then will be Lars spoke, Carsten promised.
It's metadata, right? So you get much more data to search on. You get much more data to look up for your Copilot. You can ask Copilot about stuff that happened in the meeting. What did Lars say last time about this and this? Because people remember those kind of stuff. Oh, Lars, he just mentioned something, but what was he saying, right? So it's for those type of things, and it's really, really nice that you're capable of looking stuff up. Back in the old days, you went to the library to look up stuff, right? Now it's Copilot that can help you do stuff. So,
and especially to see all the cool commercials that Microsoft come on. With Copilot, we can do this and we can do this, and then people are using and say, well, we don't know who did that. We don't know who that, because 5 people in a meeting room and 5 people were behind the PC, and it's only the people that behind the PC where we get tasked to do, and he was saying, and so on. So I think it's a really, really nice functionality that finally are being released. I know that it takes a lot of AI power behind the scene for Microsoft, but it's really something that we need to have now that we are rolling out Copilot as much as we're doing right now, and get all our transcriptions and so on. So
and talking about really license, awesome. Would it be everybody who are enhanced to have this speaker recognition done in the tenants license, or do they need to have a premium or something?
I don't think voice isolation is not a premium functionality. No, the voice profile is not. I mean, and regards the meeting room, not it's a pro license. I don't think you have speaker recognition. Again, I normally say that everything that takes some power behind the scene is a pro license. And this one definitely takes some power from Microsoft for the servers behind the scenes. So I would assume that it's only working on a pro license.
Yeah, I mean, every feature that Microsoft is developing, that is for the pro license. But I think one really important thing is also that it's not only working in a native Teams rooms, it will also work in a bring your own device environment. But that of course needs a shared display license to actually have that ability to actually know it's a speaker recognition that needs to work in this room as well. And that means that if you have a bring your own device, a shared display license that are allocated to this meeting room, even though that I bring my laptop into this meeting room, then you would also have the speaker recognition function that works even when you just bring your normal laptop into the meeting. And this is where it can be a messed up experience. If you are having, or if you forget to turn off your voice isolation, then it will be a really bad experience in a shared experience or a shared meeting room. But another thing that I really like that Microsoft already enabled, that is the shared display mode. You can already do that. So if you have a meeting room where you do bring your own device, when you connect your PC to peripherals, you can enable shared display mode, which means that it will only be the Teams experience on the front of room screen, and then you don't have all your personal pop-ups and things going on during the meeting that people can see. So I think that's a really nice feature that Microsoft brought into.
Nice.
So I mean, it's a better experience for everyone. It's a better experience for you that actually running the meeting, because then it will only be what's important for the Teams meeting.
Yeah,
exactly.
all your
Yeah.
pop-ups and emails, and you got an update on stream gaming profile or something like that. You don't want that to pop in meetings. So really nice functionality.
Yeah, yeah, and that works actually really good already today. To be honest, I'm not sure if the shared display mode would be by default if you have that license, shared display license or shared device license added to the devices. I mean, it would make sense.
But I don't know what the default either is, but it will make perfect sense that it's default.
It would make sense.
Yeah. So I think anyway, if it's a shared, Microsoft is doing it so complicated when they call it shared device license and shared display mode. But anyway, you will have a great experience, even from a bring your own device experience when you enter the shared display mode.
I think we will see more and more people bringing on the shared display mode and bring your own device, but it will be not. It will be a 80-20% or something like that. So 80% will probably be Teams room, and then you have 20%, which is more or less a huddle room, something like that, with a shared device license on and a shared display mode running. But it's so easy to have a complete MTR system running, and you get so much more benefit from it. So at least here in Denmark and maybe even the Nordics and the UK, I don't think we will see the benefits totally of bring your own device mode. So
I think that it's actually, and that's for my own, no Microsoft behind this, but my thought is that Microsoft are going into bring your own device, and we see a license coming on it, and we have thought, okay, why would Microsoft begin doing that? Well, we can register it. We can see in the Pro port. There's so many things other. But if we begin to see, there's also a lot of manufacturers, OEM, that are coming out with some very, 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 very cheap Windows solution. Of course, it's downscale PC. It's i3 and only one HDMI channel and so on, but they're really coming with something where if you know all your bring your own devices room and so on, if you want to do an upgrade, it's easier. You don't have to go out and investigate. Of course, if you only have 15 meeting rooms, you're kind of aware of it. But if you have 1,500 or 5,000 meeting rooms, the problem is you have no idea how many huddle rooms you have and what's within them and so on. So I think this is actually a start on a longer plan that they want to add something for getting everything into MTRs and not just bring your own devices.
Totally agree.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of makes sense. A lot of the people that I talk to, they like, okay, we want to go fully with Microsoft. We're going to want to go native Teams. But then again, if they have a huddle room for 2, maybe 3 persons, they might not want to do the investment of a fully native Teams rooms. So then it would be a great experience to have a great device in there, but then use the shared display mode and then add a cheaper license to it. I think that is where we're going to see a lot of companies are going.
Yep. And over time, they will eventually switch to what they prefer the way to have a meeting, right? So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the best experience would still be, I think, native Teams rooms.
Yeah,
and like Carsten is saying, like we see vendors bringing cheaper devices. I would say a purpose-built small room or huddle room device that will have a lower cost, but still the native Teams rooms experience. I think that would be where people are going, but I also see that it might take some years before we are there. And I think the shared device license with the shared display mode, that will then give an understanding of how often are the meeting room used, and then it will be a transition into the Teams rooms.
Definitely worth investing time and money into getting those registered and get them working and so on. It's just on the long run, I can see that there is a path that Microsoft are going out. So.
With that said, I think we should end this session with another session about Enterprise Connect. Anything else you want to add, Carsten and Michael?
No, I think we covered most of it. Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much for watching this session with Let's Talk About Teams. We are